Okay, I'll start. Am I audible?
Yes, Manaswita, you're audible.
Good morning. My name is Manaswita Todpnuri, a third-year IMSc chemistry student. I welcome you all to today's talk on behalf of Junior Science Club and Manthan. Today's talk is the episode 7 of a series of online talks by distinguished alumni of UOH by Manthan. Our speaker for today is Ms. Kiranmayi Vadlamudi. Ms. Kiranmayi Vadlamudi is a senior research analyst at Aboriginal Housing Office. She graduated in IMSc Systems Biology from University of Hyderabad in 2014. She acquired skills and training in performing wet laboratory experiments in molecular biology and also learned to code in various programming languages, along with bioinformatics algorithms, genome sequencing technologies, etc. She attended national and international conferences and schools to specialize in computational neuroscience. She joined a PhD program in computational biology and worked towards her PhD coursework, studying biophysics, computational neuroscience, mathematical methods, etc. She completed her graduation from University of Sydney and became a Master of Complex Systems in 2019. Her first scientific research paper on network properties of Salmonella epidemics was published in a top-tier international journal. Now, I would like to welcome our honorable speaker to deliver the talk. All the participants can drop their questions in the chat box, which will be addressed by our speaker at the end of the talk. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Manaswita. That was a very nice introduction. I think I don't think of myself as nicely as you described me. I was like, you're talking about a different person. That's not me.
We are very honored.
Um, you made me feel good about myself. Thank you for that. So I will just start presenting first with a presentation, give you a 5-10 minute presentation, and from there, maybe we'll move on to answering your questions. So, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'll just. Okay, so can you see the screen? This is the title slide.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. So I wanted to give a very generic talk about shaping your career. Because when I had this conversation with Aditi, she said that they want to start. You guys wanted to start alumni talk series with the IMSC alumni, and since I think I'm the first one, I'm not too sure. I thought I'll keep it very general and talk to you about different things that you will encounter after you graduate, or maybe during these 5 years itself. So the title of my talk is Shaping Your Career. So when you think about your career, you basically think about what work you will be doing, and possibly for the rest of your life. That'll earn you money, provide for your family, and also maybe depends on what kind of person you are. You may have more expectations than that from your career. So you will be spending like 40 hours a week out of 168 hours a week working. So that's the amount of time you'll be working in a week. And you probably start working from the age of maybe anywhere between 20 to 26. And you'll be working till the age of 60 till you retire. And so that's a lot of time of your life that you will be giving to working and earning money, right? And so this, I think, is safe to say would classify your career. And so the question comes that maybe at some stage in during your 5-year degree, or maybe after, you will ask this question: how do you want to spend this time? This is a lot of time of your life that you're giving to something called a career. You will ask yourself, how do I want to spend this time? And maybe different reasons will come up in your head. For some people, it's money. People want to earn a lot of money, provide for their families, or for them, success means that today, if I'm making 10,000 rupees a month, tomorrow, I don't know, in another 1 or 2 years, I want to make 50,000 rupees a month. So that for them is success. And for some people, they will think about family and friends. And they will be like, oh, I want to be close to my family. I want to be close to my friends. And I don't want to travel. I don't want to leave the city. I love being in Hyderabad. And so for me, my career is whatever can get me a job in Hyderabad, the city I love, and be with my family and friends. And I, and that's perfectly fine. And for them, that will be what success looks like, right? Anything that keeps them close to family and friends, have a reasonable job, provide for them, and at the end of the day, they're getting to relax with their friends. So that's what more can you ask from in life? And for some people, it is status and stability. So, they'll be like, oh, I'm able to buy, I don't know, the car I want, or I'm able to buy the house I want, or I'm able to buy for myself I don't know, latest shoes I want, or something like that. And so, if they're able to do that, maybe it's through money, or maybe it's through a stable job, and they can make their parents feel proud about, look, I have a stable job, I'm an IAS officer, I work for the country, and this is what my parents want, this is what I want. It gives us status in the society. Some people define that as success. And the last category is achievements. For some people, what they quantify as success is when they set a goal, try to achieve that goal. Maybe their goal is that they want to lose 20 kilos. I'm I'm thinking of a very obese person here. Maybe they want to lose 5 kilos in 10 months, or like in a year. That is a goal they set for themselves, and they try to achieve that goal. And the process of achieving that goal gives them that happiness and satisfaction. So some people are driven by such achievements, right? And so, what quantifies as success for different people varies a lot. And as you perhaps graduate, and in a couple of years after graduation, you will, try to think about these things, and different people will pursue maybe a combination or perhaps only one of these four paths, right? And so, before I wanted to just give you a bit of that introduction and talk about myself. Manaswita did a beautiful job about giving my background. Um, this is the emoji history of my background because I was having really fun with emojis. So I thought that I will build an emoji history of my LinkedIn version of resume. So this is what essentially I have on my resume on LinkedIn, but with lot less emojis. Um, so when I was in school, much like some of you guys I know, I wanted to do research. Um, but I didn't really know why at that time, but I just thought, oh, doing research looks cool. It's different. It's not BTech or MBA, which was a relief. And the path to get into a research, a basic science degree, is very different. And this was around the time Inspire was getting started, and Inspire scholarship, I think, started around 2006 or something. And so there was all this in the country, especially under President Kalam. There was a lot of impetus to having a scientific research career. And so I thought, okay, doing research is a cool thing. So in school, I studied in 11th and 12th, I studied math, physics, chemistry, and biology. I took both math and biology. That was a very weird choice for a lot of people, I remember. And I come from a CBSE background, so that allowed me to do that. I know in state board people couldn't do that. I don't know how it is right now. And after that, I gave, like everybody else, a lot of engineering exams. And so this is the time before there was a common engineering entrance exam. So I gave all these IIT, JEE, AIEEE, and all those kinds of things. I went to coaching school for 2 years in my school. So it was 11th and 12th standard. I was doing coaching for engineering exams. So nothing special there. Um, and so I qualified in JEE with the extended list rank. And at the time, I didn't know about IMSC. I knew that they were ICERs, and I knew that ICERs were recruiting through JEE ranks. And so a lot of people applied to ICERs. And I remember that particular year in 2009, they had 60,000 extended list ranks. And so all the ICERs got filled. I didn't get admission there. And uh, I grew up in Delhi. So at that time, I didn't apply for University of Delhi. And so I had no options. I remember I used to pray at that time every day to give me admission, asking God to give me admission somewhere. And I came across IMSC and in University of Hyderabad, and this was a new program. Um, like there was not even one single batch that had graduated. So it was like, okay, go with it. We don't know what that will do. Um, Fortunately, what helped is um this really depends on what family you come from and what your parents believe in and what they're okay with and not. Fortunately for me, we had one scientist in the family, so it was all right. It was an all right decision for me to join this place. So that's how I joined IMSC, and then after that, I initially joined in chemistry. And then in my third year, I moved to systems biology from chemistry. And systems biology was really amazing. I had the best time of my life in those labs. Um, I remember, I don't know if you still have that microbiology professor, but oh, I forgot his name. Who teaches you microbiology? Any systems biology people here? Hello?
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, are you talking about Senthil sir or?
There is another microbiology person. I forgot his name. He's he was he. I'll find out the name and tell you.
Is it Professor Ramaya Kolluru?
Ramaya. Oh yes, Professor Ramaya. Yes. So yeah, he made us repeat experiments quite a bit because I remember the first experiment was microorganisms are ubiquitous, and and we grew all kinds of things in the plates, but not exactly what he wanted us to grow. And so he made us repeat that experiment 2 3 weeks, and we would be there working late at nights as well. Yeah, that was quite a memory down the memory lane. So anyways, so after systems biology, I went to a bunch of neuroscience conferences. So I was a bit late in joining perhaps my batchmates in that everybody applied for internships, and I was I don't know, in another world. So I didn't know internships existed also. So I basically didn't work myself out any internship, but rather I went to, within the university, professors who were free in the summer and who could take me on to do any kind of project. And so that is how I managed some internships. And like that, I managed to get myself into conferences, neuroscience conferences. I applied, and they were not exactly conferences. They were schools, 2 week schools. So they were short, intensive technical training. Um, where a lot of PhD students attended, and I'm still like in my third year or fourth year, and I used to go to such schools, and I never understood anything. But I made a lot of contacts during that time. I made friends from all over the world because these schools are very helpful in making contacts. And, you know, yeah, you get to meet a lot of people from all over the world. It opens up your world a lot. So, just for the reason of perhaps exposure, I applied to these short technical schools in computational neuroscience, and I learned a thing or two about neuroscience, but um, I wouldn't say that I was so good at it, or I was thought that I would do a career in it. I just was like, oh, this is what I'm interested in right now. Let me just explore it. And that is the way I explored it, that I applied to these research schools and went to attend them to try and see if I find it interesting. And so after that, I decided to join a PhD after I graduated. So for my thesis, I worked with Ramakrishna Ramaswamy. I don't know if he's still with the University of Hyderabad, but his research was in nonlinear dynamics. And so with him, I did like bunch of application of nonlinear dynamics to neuroscience. Um, and then after thesis, after graduating, I joined PhD in IMSC Institute of Mathematical Sciences. I got PhD admission in ISC Bangalore and in IMSC Chennai. And I joined IMSC and I was there for 1 year. I did my coursework. Um, and then after that, I left that place after 1 year because I thought, and this is something I'm going to explain, that I felt that I can't see myself being in Chennai in this place for 5 years doing a PhD. It was just simply that thought that I had to be in this place for 5 years and that will be all of my 20s. And I just couldn't make myself do it. And so I left my PhD and then I was at home, which is this tiny icon here after my PhD. That's my home for 1.5 years. And during that time, I was basically asking the big questions about what I want to do with my life. Um, and then I continued applying for further study, and I got into several master programs in Australia, UK, and the US. By this time, if you can't tell, I was a very brilliant student. So that is the reason for why I got so many admissions, because I had good grades. Um, so that helps. Having good grades helps because it opens options. Whether or not you want to do something, you can always decide later. But if you don't have good grades, you don't have options, and then that it's fine. It'll open other kinds of doors for you. But yeah, I mean, at least this was my experience. So I did my master's in complex systems, and during that time in university, because I was an international student, and I don't know if any of you know this, but life as an international student is extremely hard financially, because you're paying your fees, or you have a loan that you have taken to pay your fees, and then you have to meet your living expenses. And so I started working while I was in my say doing the masters itself. um, and So that's the sign of me in front of the laptop doing jobs. um, and during this time I shifted from biology to completely different area, but not so different if you understand complex systems. I moved from biology to urban systems, and so it was like working with a lot of census data, demographic data, socioeconomic data, and that sort of stuff. And then after I graduated, I did more jobs. And then COVID hit, and a lot of people died, which is the skull over there. And a lot of people lost their jobs. I lost my job as well. This was last year. And for almost 7 to 8 months, I was unemployed because the economy basically was like that. And and then finally this year I found a job, and so that's me in the end working in front of the computer. uh, so I don't know, would you call this successful? I don't know. I will leave that for you. I'll leave that for you to decide. But there are a lot of things that I left out in this emoji history that I've shown you. Um, but you are free to ask me questions on things like why I chose complex systems, why did I decide to leave my PhD, um, was I crazy? You can leave, or you can ask all those questions. I don't mind. Uh, but the way I saw my career was that experiences is equal to experiments. And if you come from a true science background, you will experiment. You know the value of experiments. And so I thought, unless I try something, I don't know if I really like it or not. I don't know if I want to do this for the rest of my life or not. So I'm going to try as many things I can. So for me, experiences are as invaluable as those other things like money, family, friends, um, achievements. And I like setting myself up for a task and going and trying to get that task. Um, and what happens when you try a lot of things is that you get, with everything you try, you get understanding of yourself. Um, that is, I think I would assume is a logical flow. Like if I try, I don't know, piano, playing the piano, learning how to play the piano. So I put all my effort into playing the piano. I become good at it, and then I decide whether I like it or not. So when that happens, you have better understanding of yourself. You have learned about yourself that A, you're capable of learning things. B, you're capable of excelling at things. C, that you have interests that may or may not match what you have become good at or you have developed a skill at. So you get understanding of yourself that you didn't have earlier. The third thing that I sort of probably came to this realization after a lot of trial and error, perhaps, is that not to get too attached to what you're doing. Hello? So, can you guys still hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, not to get too attached to what you're doing. By that, what I mean is that today you may have decided I want to do research. You may see yourself, and I'll University of Hyderabad is a very powerful research and academic environment, and that environment has so much of influence on you and how you see yourself that you may believe that at that moment, and which is fine, right, that I'm going to be a scientist. I never thought when I was in IMSc that I'm going to do anything outside of science. I didn't even entertain that thought. I was so dedicated to having a science career in and being in academics. So and that's the kind of identity I had for myself. So even after I graduated and I did all kinds of jobs, I would be thinking, oh, why am I doing these kind of jobs? I can do this, I can do this. So I don't know, I can do much more complex, I don't know, computational stuff, and this is my background. And that sort of thoughts that, oh, in when I was in school I wanted to do research, or that, oh, now I'm not doing this. So don't get too attached to what you wanted at some point, or what you thought you wanted at some point, because that will not allow you to change. And if you don't get that, if you are not successful in getting that, then you'll be miserable. You'll be miserable not getting this, not allowing yourself to get something else. And so it's a very valuable lesson I learned, that not to get too attached to things. Don't take yourself too seriously as well. Be honest with yourself. If you are not liking something, there will always be pressures. You have a job right now, or oh, look, you decided in school I will do research. You are in your fourth year now and you are enjoying this a lot. But maybe after you graduate, you join a PhD, or even after completing your PhD, a lot of people complete their PhDs and then leave academia completely. You have to be honest with yourself at every stage. Keep asking yourself, am I still enjoying what I'm doing? Uh, and is this giving me happiness, or do I want this? To keep asking those questions from yourself, and be willing to face consequences of your decisions. This seems very obvious, but when you make a choice, or when you make a decision, I don't enjoy. I don't know. I'm in chemistry today. Tomorrow, I want to do a PhD in physics. Um, there will be a consequence to that decision, in the sense that you will have to spend more time making up for material that you didn't cover, because you have a bachelor. You have a, I don't know. You come from a chemistry background, so that consequence over here in this example is that you lose time. Every time you make a switch, or you will always lose time. You'll have to spend more time trying to learn the new things. But the plus side, the upside of that is, you will always be learning. Even if you decide to stick to that one thing, you always wanted to do chemistry. You do your bachelor's, master's, PhD, postdoc, everything in chemistry, and you will still have to learn on an everyday basis. You'll become good at what you do, for sure, but you'll still be learning. And so, be like, this fact, the sooner you sort of come to terms with, the easier your life will be post graduation. And that's just the sun, because I thought the sun looked pretty. So, so moving on to the next slide. It's all in the mind. What does that mean? To do all the things that I said earlier, It goes without saying that you need hard work. Um, there is no shortcut around hard work. Um, yeah, I'll be very straightforward. Hard work is inescapable, and you have to keep working hard your entire life. It doesn't, even after you have a job, you're earning money, you're working hard in some way or the other. It's not the same kind of hard work you did as a student in school. Maybe you're working hard, trying to have a family and balance your career with your personal life. Even that is hard work. So, hard work is one thing. Second thing is self doubt. I think that this point is so underestimated. Um, so you need to have self doubt. It I think most successful people have a lot of self doubt. People think, oh, I have seen a lot of people who are so have this ability to convince themselves that they are doing the right thing. Like they won't even hear themselves, they won't hear their family, they won't hear their friends because they have convinced themselves that what they're doing is right for them. And such people, they obviously, maybe it works out for them, maybe it doesn't, but at some point it'll make them unhappy, or so I would like to think. So self-doubt is has played a very important role in my life. I have always constantly questioned every decision I've made, and uh, at the time of making it, I keep reevaluating every decision I make. I think about the consequences, where it's going to take me. And then if I still decide to do it, then it's something I have well thought out. So self doubt is actually very healthy. Never convince yourself of anything. Even if you want to convince yourself, keep questioning yourself about what you're convincing yourself of. Mental agility. Um, this goes back to the previous slide where, oh, sorry, where I said this one. Don't get too attached. So when you don't get attached or take yourself too seriously, you will be able to change the decisions you make or move on to the next thing without being too attached. What happens as you go forward in life is that at some point maybe you liked something, like in right now you are studying physics, you like physics, and then you think, oh, today I'm liking physics, I want to do a PhD in this. um, that's fine, that is your ambition right now, how you know yourself. Tomorrow you actually join a physics PhD. You reach your final year of PhD. I know people who reach the final year of PhD and have not completed it and have quit their PhDs. You reach your final year of PhD and then you're like, um, okay, am I still enjoying PhD, my physics thing that I'm doing? And if the answer is no, can you shift at that time to find something that you really enjoy doing, jeopardizing your stability and your career, and by that time you have done already 4 years of PhD? Can you put all of that at risk and go and find something that you want? I'm not encouraging you to do anything like this. I'm just questioning that, if you are able to do, that means, I would think that means you are agile. You are mentally agile. You're able to adapt. Some people may make a compromise that, oh, I just have one year left. I don't like it, but let's just get done with it, get my degree, and move on to the next thing. And that's absolutely fine. That's a personal choice, right? But if you're able to, as long as you're able to move on from what you have done to the next thing without being too attached to it, you can be mentally agile. Fourth thing that has helped me a lot is fear. I have made a lot of choices that I'm very fearful of. I don't know what the future is going to look like. And like, for example, when I left my PhD, um, and then I was at home, I didn't know what was going to happen for 1.5 years, what is going to come next, and what decision I should make next. And when I decided to choose this master's and again come to a whole new country and start my life, leaving family and friends behind, it was an extremely scary decision. So fear has always helped me push myself out of my comfort zone. I feel like this has gone beyond 5 and 10 minutes. Um, the next is support. I've always had support in my life. So if it is very important to have support of family and friends, um, even if you are deciding to do, especially if you are doing a PhD, extremely important to have a support network. Without a support network, you won't be able to finish your PhD. Um, Keep going, resilience. So that is resilience to keep going despite all the challenges that you face. I would like to give this analogy that my dad gave me because this helped me a lot in my career. Is that your career is like building a wall. You don't care how you place your bricks, but there is an overall direction in which you're building. So if you, I don't know, if you understand this analogy, it basically means that don't be particular about what you are doing now, then what you should do afterwards, what you should do after that. As long as you're building that wall in the direction that you want to build it in. That's a very good, helpful analogy to how to build a career. And lastly, my slide is about COVID because I feel like you kids are very unfortunate in that you are having to do remote classes. Um, and so I thought about a few things that might, I don't know, might help you guys during COVID. One thing that everybody is doing right now is that taking extra measures to stay positive. So this is something we didn't need to do at your age because we could go to classes. But I feel you guys might have to do is that you have to spend time with your family, with your parents, with your brothers or sister, or your pets, whatever you have. Make phone calls and talk. And the next thing is, I remember Aditi telling me that we can't do internships right now. So if you think about that analogy of building a wall, uh, I would think if I was in your position that I would diversify my skills. So if I'm in chemistry, I will do an internship in web design, or I will do an internship in, I don't know, something else, whatever is available under the sun, as long as it gives me some sort of skill. Um, I will learn the skill of coding. I will learn how to build a website. I will learn something else. I'll do an internship in data science. Whatever you can do and can get your hands on. Use online communities and social media to expand your reach or understand how outside world is working. Think local, what's within your reach. Think about what you can do given your circumstances. I know this is easier said than done. be in touch and find yourself mentors. I think this is something you can do very easily. Is befriend people on LinkedIn, send them messages, befriend people on Facebook, send them messages, ask how they're doing, try to attend online conferences and schools. Now, all the schools are online, and try to make network. Just, and this is bit scary, but I think you're young, so you should be able to do it. To just message people on LinkedIn and be like, oh, can you help me? I'm having this problem, and you seem like an expert in this area. How do I go about it? Or that sort of thing. Possibility for innovation. COVID has also given possibility for everybody to think about the world that we are living in differently, and to think about what kind of innovations are possible. Um, so my general this thing would be to not um, stick to what you think you're comfortable with right now, and just do everything under the sun. Everything. You might be a chemistry major, you may want to know about climate change. You may want to know about politics. At, at the stage of life that you are in right now, in your 20s, any knowledge is good knowledge. And any internship is a good internship. It may not, you may think, oh, why should I do an internship in web design, or I will never work in that area. You don't know how that will help you right now. You are not, nobody is that far-sighted to see how that's going to help you right now. Um, but it may happen that because of this web design skill you have today, tomorrow it'll be easier for you if you wanted to shift your career. Or tomorrow, if you are applying for a postdoc position that had, oh, display your results in a user interface over the web or something. And you'll be like, yeah, I did this, so I can do this now. You'll just need to revise a bit. So that would be how I would see things. So thank you, everyone, for your patience. Oh, that was a very long talk. I'm so sorry, guys. I thought it'll really get over in 5-10 minutes. Gross underestimation.
Thank you,
I
ma'am.
hope nobody has slept off and
No.
cursing me. You gave such a long talk. Okay, what is the question? What actually is systems biology?
That was a wonderful talk. Now I would like to invite my fellow JSC coordinator Gautam Sankar to continue with the question and answer session.
Good morning, ma'am. My name is Gautam Shankar from MSc third year physics. We had actually put up an Instagram story to have the students engage in some questions with you in before the talk itself. So, in the order in which they were asked, this is a little bit of a generic question. How does one feel when they are unable to have a specific path or course in life without a degree from a college or university?
That's a very tough question. So they don't even have a degree or this thing. They're not in university right now.
No, ma'am. What does one do if they are unable to get a course or a degree? I guess is the question.
Unfortunately, India is not a developed country. And I will tell you the answer my parents told me, and probably my grandparents told my parents that you need education. And this is a very traditional answer. If we were, I don't know, like US or France, a lot of people, young people, don't go to college because their college is very expensive, and it's very hard. to get education there. And so if, but for us, we are still, just 70 years from independence. Our people in the country need to get educated because this is a very traditional view, unfortunately. I wish I could say that, everything will be fine without education, but it will not be fine. If you're not interested in something, choose anything. Anything. Just get a bachelor's in something like a BA in political science or anything that is the least you hated the least. Let's put it that way. Something you hate the least. And, you know, um, do that degree. Um, so unfortunately, my advice will be that. Hello? I
Okay.
can't hear you.
Yeah, ma'am. Hello. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So, in your talk, you talked a little bit about the various admission offers you got from UK, the US, and Australia. So,
Yeah.
the one of the questions where could you talk a little bit about the job scopes in foreign countries and how does one approach them and how to enlist for them?
So what do you mean jobs? Do you mean like academic jobs or industry jobs?
Both, ma'am. Like, how does one apply for them, or how does get various foreign university admission to courses like that? Is I think the question.
Look, for the master's degree, then you just apply like any other. I think you have to give, depending on the country you're applying to, you'll have to give your TOEFL exam, or which is basically an English language exam, and maybe in some countries they ask GRE. If you are applying for management courses, you need GMAT. So you need to give all those exams and uh, apply based on their admission cycle. Once you can regard financing your degree is a completely different topic, perhaps. But once you are there and you want to get jobs, um, usually in the university itself, there will be a sort of a community, or the university itself will have a job board, and in that job board they will advertise jobs within the university. So they'll advertise, oh, we're looking for an RA in so and so lab, research assistant, or the administration is looking for a data analyst to do this particular task. And these jobs within the university are mostly open to university students. Nobody from outside takes it because the pay is a bit less and flexibility is more. So they will be, structured around your classes. You will have flexibility to do it in the evenings and things like that. So that is one way you can earn money during your degree itself. Um, I did a job like in I was doing masters in complex systems, so we had a center for complex systems. Within that, one of the professors had a research project, um, and that was like a short project for 6 months, and so I did it over the summer vacation. I did full hours during 3 months of that summer break, and then part-time hours during the semester. And then, like that, I approached, within the faculty who were teaching me, I approached them asking them for summer jobs. Um, and so, like that, you can find opportunities if you look for it. Outside the university is a bit hard, but a lot of people do, restaurant waiting jobs, uh, as so just to earn some money. You can do that as well.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Another question was that what persuaded you to take up systems biology at UOH?
Oh, so I was at that time genuinely confused between chemistry and systems biology, but since I had both math and biology background in my school, I and I knew I was good in biology, like um, a bit more than other subjects. I was also really good in physics, but yeah, so I just thought that biology has a lot of future and a lot of opportunities, and the field is like physics, like most of the innovation is kind of done, and so it is partly a you're pushing it there. So even the physicists are moving into biology and doing biophysics these days. So my rationalization was that at the time I thought in biology my chances of finding something would be better.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Could you talk a little bit about your transition from systems biology to complex systems?
Oh, that was easy because in my final year, I did a thesis where I was working with differential equations, and this was in nonlinear dynamics. And but these differential equations were basically modeling functioning of a neuron. And so when you put couple these differential equations, how do they behave? And so it was mostly a modeling and simulation project. Um, and if anybody knows, nonlinear dynamics is nothing but complex systems. So I took that and went with doing degree in complex systems. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Another question we received is that, in your opinion, how much of an important facet is it to know a programming language or languages as far as getting a job is concerned these days?
Uh, Depends on what kind of job you want to get. If you want to work in a bank, it is not needed for you to know a programming language. But if you want to work in the tech industry, then you probably need to know a programming language. Um, any language is fine, but but the way jobs work is they will see whether the most popular stuff right now is R, Python, or Julia. So they'll be like, oh, do you know Python or do you know R? If you say, I know Fortran, they probably won't hire you because they don't believe in your ability to learn R when they need it right now, which is right now. Um, but it'll help. Knowing one programming language helps learning the other one much easier. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Banod Bharat had asked, what is your understanding of systems biology? I think it's a generic question, but
What is actually system? Banod Bharat, which year are you in? Is he still here?
Second month. Now
Second.
I'm in
Oh,
third sem.
you are in third year.
No, ma'am, second year, but third sem.
And which have you chosen your specialization yet?
Systems biology.
You have already chosen, but you don't know what that is.
Actually,
Tell me.
actually, I were in chemistry, ma'am. But as for my first preference is systems biology, and then after CS allotted me the systems biology. Then I were in confusion that whether I need to choose this chemistry or systems biology. I'm still at confusion. Though I'm interested to know about system biology more. So can you please?
I would say that unfortunately, I'm not the right person because I'm no longer in the field. But I can tell you that systems biology is nothing but studying biological systems with a systems mindset approach. And so you basically do computational work and you also do wet lab experiments, and you are trying to study your whatever biological system in a comprehensive manner. That is the extent of where I can tell you. Probably somebody who's better to answer is somebody who's already doing systems biology right now. I can find out for you if we have some alumni like that. And if you are interested, put you in touch with them and you can ask this question. And maybe that'll help you make your decision.
Yeah, ma'am. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. So I think the second question that we got in the chat was from Sanjana Kashyap, who had asked a similar question. If Sanjana is there, can she unmute herself and ask, please?
Yeah, thank you. I am a UG student, ma'am, still, and I got a lot of advice from people not to take specialized courses in MSc, like take classical subjects like chemistry, zoology, or botany. And I was really interested in molecular biology, and I heard the person giving an intro about that you were also interested in molecular biology at a point of DNA computation and all. So is that a viable career to just focus on only molecular biology from MSc
Yeah.
itself?
Yeah, definitely. I think Sanjana, your concern is I don't know. At the time when I graduated, I wish someone had told me this because systems biology is a new degree in University of Hyderabad. It doesn't have anybody behind it creating it at that time, right? And so uh, people, I felt, this was my observation, I could be wrong, that people who graduated from physics, chemistry, had a bit more, they got into graduate programs much easier abroad. Because people know, okay, if you are doing MSc chemistry from University of Hyderabad chemistry department, it means something because there have been so many MSc graduates from the chemistry department who have gone and established academic careers. So there is some wisdom in thinking like that. Um, Regarding interest in molecular biology, if you are not going to do systems biology, then you don't need to worry at all. Molecular biology is very traditional, in my opinion. It's the most traditional of biology, if I can say that. So you can certainly choose. There were a lot of people in my batch who never learned a programming language in systems biology. So that's an option that you can just focus on wet lab and work with people who just do wet lab and keep getting research experience or internship in that. Although I think that I don't know how, in this COVID world, how that would work. Um, so that is also something for you to think that if you choose molecular biology, there will be a lot of experiments in wet lab, which means you'll have to physically go to the place, and you may not, given that COVID is around, it'll affect your work. So that's also something,
Thank you for the insight.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, if any of the participants have any questions regarding your IMSc course at UH or life after your IMSc course, please unmute yourself and ask.
Participants can also type their questions in the chat box. And yeah, ma'am, so if no one else is speaking, I would like to just speak to you about a few things. So firstly, ma'am, thank you so much. The PowerPoint presentation was so cute, especially the slide you made with the emojis. And like, I think the final slide which you made, you drew the bubbles out of your hand and then you copy pasted it on each of them, I guess. So it was definitely a lot of hard work. And I'm very glad that you decided that you would like to spend some time with us and give your insights of your career. So, ma'am, I had a couple of questions that about your career specifically. That okay, I don't know how much of this is applicable to other people who are like men, but for us women, there is always an opportunity cost to every opportunity which comes in a career. Like because families and the community and the whole society is not very supportive of you being very swayy with your career. Like even me who comes from a very privileged background, but my parents will not be very okay with me experimenting a lot with my career, which may not be the same case for maybe my brother. So I would like to know what was like your journey, and would you like to describe about what how was your personal life and how was your family supportive throughout, and were there marriage pressures and how did everything sort out?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Aditi. And this is something that as you keep aging, you will feel more of that. Um, to those who don't know, although this is irrelevant, I am married. Um, and I didn't want to include that into my emoji history because I thought, a man wouldn't do it, so why should I? Um, so, uh, um, regarding the family pressure for experimenting, look, as you grow older, your family will not care about what you're doing as long as you are earning money. That is how most Indian parents are like. And for me, I also had a personal, those, I know my batchmates know this, probably my juniors and all also know, I don't know how much they know. For me, after I graduated school, um, the first year I joined Hyderabad, University of Hyderabad, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. And she underwent treatment for 2 years. And then when I was in my third year, she passed away. And so I was not much older than any of you guys right now, second, third year guys. I had just turned 20. And so it was a very terrible period in my life, right? And uh, so, yeah, at the time, it was, what do you say? I tried to deal with that by drowning myself in my studies. I drowned myself in my studies, and I was partly the reason why I had very good marks. And because that's the way I thought, oh, that's the way I knew how to cope at the time. And so this question is you are asking already to someone who in my entire 20s I didn't have my mother. And so getting married, doing, finding a life partner and doing all of that was without that support. Um, that question regarding I don't know how you can experiment is that you have to rebel. I, and don't quote me on this to your parents or anyone. But that's the way. When you are young, you can rebel, and rebelling helps because you can try things. As long as you are able to show to your parents that, look, I have money, I can take care of myself. And for a woman especially, it's very important to earn money. Very, very important. Uh, Money gives you independence. It gives you freedom of movement. Um, it gives you status in front of your partner, the society, everyone. You may find a very loving partner. And these days, people are very progressive than I think maybe 20 years ago. Um, but you know, you just have to. It is going to be hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. For girls and women in their 20s, it's going to be very hard, and you'll have to constantly fight your parents and the society to do what you want to do. What helped me was that when I left the country, uh, it helped me because I didn't have any societal pressures anymore, right? And I could do what I wanted to. Um, but that being said, that you can go on your own, you can go with your partner, you can do whatever you want. But once you leave the country, you also have a lot more freedom, you have a lot more responsibility. So just make sure that you are able to provide for yourself at the very least. And from there, what decision you make is nobody's business. If your parents are concerned, you can say, look, I'm earning money. So as long as you have that, and I think that being said, you'll also go through phases of unemployment. And you have to think about, learn how to invest money. That is very important as a woman as well. What to do with your money when you're earning it, how to invest it, how to grow it, all those things that give you security. So, yeah, that is the long answer and an unfortunate answer.
Yeah, ma'am. I think I get what you trying to say. And okay, I had more questions, so I'll ask those questions. So, madam, you decided to take an PhD in IMSc, and within a year, you also decided to quit. So, how did you decide these things very quickly? That it was not. Mostly people, what they do is that they take like 2-3 years into the PhD, and then that's when they realize. But you decided I think in between a span of months, that this is something I want to do, but
1 year.
this is something I don't want to do again.
2014 August I joined, and 2015 July I left. So I was there exactly 1 year. I finished my coursework and I was going to join Gautam Menon for PhD. Gautam Menon now is in Ashoka University. But I left at the time in 1 year span because I was extremely unhappy. So unhappy in the sense I was not enjoying what I was doing. And I was like, I can't see myself doing this for 5 years. So I saw no future in my head when I tried to visualize. I could not see myself in that future. So that's how I made that decision.
Yeah, ma'am. And can you tell us more about the neuroscience conferences you attended in the summers?
Yes. So one conference, winter school I attended was IBRO UNESCO Winter School in Computational Neuroscience. That was December 2012. The other was in June 2013. I attended this University of Ottawa school, summer school in computational neuroscience. And because we have this Inspire scholarship, you get some money for travel or something like that. So I think by that time I had 4 years of extra money that added up every year. And I just used that money to travel. It was some amount like 10,000 or something every year. And so that was convenient. If you have Inspired Scholarship, there is some provision that there is some travel money every year that gets allocated. Yeah, those were the two schools, and I am not remembering. I attended some conferences in the university itself in systems biology, and when I was in my PhD, I attended another winter school in Italy, ICTP Trieste. So that was that was also a neuroscience school for like 3 weeks. Most of these schools were 2 weeks. Yeah, and that I attended from the money that I had during my JRF. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. And okay, so I think we started the talk with you telling us that you were interested into research after school, and then that's why you chose systems biology, and now you're working for a job in a private sector. So can you try to explain us how far you think you are doing like research in your job, and how much of research is done in private sector? What kind of research is done in private sector?
So I work for the government here. It is the government of New South Wales. I live in Sydney, and here when my title is senior research analyst, but I probably don't do any research, not the kind of traditional research anyway. The people do machine learning stuff and data science stuff, and they may call the job research analyst also. So what your job name is and what your job description is will varies a lot. Sometimes even at the time of job application, you may think you're applying for something. In the interview, you may feel like you're applying for something. After joining, for after 6 months, you figure out, oh, this is not the job I thought it was. So this is very common, by the way. Uh, right. So this is very common. What was the question again? I forgot. I saw
Yeah,
this
that
question.
your whole idea of starting a career through research, and right now what
Yeah. Yeah, look, I learned a lot of skills. I don't do any research right now, but my background has allowed me to have a lot of options right now. So I moved from, from biology to doing complex systems to urban systems. My second thesis was on applying complexity science to census data. Um, and then so doing social network analysis with a farmer network. I moved to very social oriented topics, applying these kind of data skills to social oriented topics. And then I got interested in geospatial data, which is basically data that has a location attached to it, and how that is treated differently from all different other kinds of data like text, speech, audio, whatever. And so now I work a lot with GIS software. Um, and I didn't have to do what I did to get here. I could have just done a bachelor's in geomatics or I don't know, some geospatial stuff and gotten here. But I wouldn't be this kind of person I am today if I didn't take the path that I took. Rarely people go in straight paths. That is very, very rare. Most people go in like all kinds of crazy paths. So yeah, so and I'm still considering now. I turn 30 next week. I'm considering doing a PhD in my 30s. So, but maybe in geospatial field. So, you know, it is what it is. You keep learning things.
I agree, and your journey has been like I think it's one of the things which people should definitely know, because as children we are always taught that okay, finish your school, finish your college, get into a job as immediately, get married, life is set. But I think this is the perfect example for everybody out there who want to experiment and who don't want to put themselves in boxes.
Yeah, I am married, but I still don't feel like I'm settled. Which is probably unfortunate for me. Yes, Pratik is asking for a question. Ma'am, you have been in foreign, and was there any difference in attitude approach in terms of life for students of other nationalities in comparison to us Indians? Uh, I think it has not much to do with nationality, but with what family you come from, I would say. There are people here who are also very traditional, like some Indians back home, like believe in having a steady job, believe in having steady career, income, getting married. There are people everywhere like that. So I think it depends on your family, and more on you, what kind of person you are, and how risk taking you are, if you're willing to take risk, and yeah, those sort of things. So I hope, Pratik, I've answered your question, if that is what you were asking. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay. Any more questions? I'm surprised so many people joined, 33, 34 people. I was expecting like 5, 10 people. 30 people is very scary.
Ma'am, I don't think there are any questions, but there is one question by Gaurav. Ma'am, what encouraged you to take data science?
Unfortunately, the definition of data science is very broad now, Gaurav. Everybody who does any kind of modeling, simulation, or any sort of work generally comes under the broad field of data science. You may be physics, uh, come from physics background, do a physics PhD, might do some modeling or simulation in your PhD, and then if you want to transition into industry, most likely you will look for a data science job because you have done modeling and simulation. So and linear algebra. So you'll be like, okay, this is how regression works, this is how machine learning algorithms work. You can probably study those things, like that. So I would say that since the definition of data science is so broad, it involves so many uh, fields, and people from different fields can join it as well. There are people who come from political science and they do computer science as well, and they come from that background. Newspapers nowadays have a huge component, journalism has a huge component of doing data journalism, and there are people who studied political science in universities, or those kind of things. And so I would not see what I'm doing as data science. Maybe I would just see that what I'm doing, what I enjoy doing, which is basically working with geospatial data, demographic data, census data, that sort of work. And so, yeah. I was not pursuing the field. I think what I want to say is I was not pursuing the field. I was pursuing what I was liking doing. I don't know if that makes sense. So, Gaurav, are you still here? I feel like I have butchered his question. I have not answered it, but I've dissected it.
I hope that answers his question. And anyways, maybe.
I didn't have any ambition to take up data science, Gaurav. That is what I'm trying to say. I didn't want to join data science. I was just wanting to work with, uh, apply my programming skills to an area where I can impact people, have an impact, help people. So that was my reason why I did that. Good morning, ma'am. I'm reading Monavi's question.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. What is the difference between biomedical engineering and biosciences? I am not the right person to answer this question. Yeah, because I'm no longer in this field, and um, my understanding would be sysbio is what I explained, that you will be doing research on uh, biological organisms, cells, animal cells, plant cells, that kind of stuff, with wet lab and with computational modeling. Biomedical engineering, as I understand it, is that you will be, the equipment that they use for surgery. Um, the doctors use very complex equipment, medical equipment. Biomedical engineering might be that, is my guess. I can be very off, so please uh, verify this with someone. And biosciences, I don't know what that is. So I'm sorry, Monavi. My knowledge on this is very limited.
We have another question by Leah.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. Ma'am, didn't you get any offers such as working in labs after you finished your MSc? And when actually did you start earning? Right to the point. When did I start earning? Okay. Which MSc are you? After my systems biology MSc.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, Offers in labs, you mean like PhD offers or just like working as a research assistant?
Working as a research intern or something like that.
I joined PhD after my MSc. I went and interviewed lots of places, and so I got PhD offer from ISC Bangalore, and ISC Bangalore at the time was very infamous for 7-year PhDs. This is before they bought out that mandatory 5-year PhD rule. And this particular lab, I got admission in, forgetting that lady's name, but she's some big shot in like plant something. And and she her in her I went after I got admission, I went and talked to people in that lab, and everybody seemed very unhappy because there were people doing like 7 or 8 year PhD because the lady would not let people graduate. So there are all kinds of people like that. Um, so I thought that you have to understand, just because people are in academics and have faculty positions doesn't mean they know the world. And don't treat them like they are God. Don't treat anybody like they are God. You have to question everything what everyone says, including what I'm saying. And so she was infamous for not letting people graduate. And 7 years, 8 years, people are doing PhD there. I thought, oh, I'm not joining this place. So that was one offer I got. I did not work as a research assistant because I already got a PhD admission. Doing research assistant, usually people do that, take that option when they don't want to do a PhD, right? Or when they're sure they will do PhD abroad. People from my batch who did research assistantship 1 or 2 years after MSc, they got PhD admissions abroad and went to do PhD outside. Which, if you anybody wants to ask this question, nobody asked me. I'll tell you this: go abroad to do PhD. It makes a huge difference. Huge difference. No comparison at all. If you do PhD in India, you will end up hating academics. And I'm telling you this from a lot of people who joined Indian PhDs, and good students, 9-point GPS, toppers in their class, join Indian PhDs and left in like final year or like third year, like that, because Indian academics are unbearable to work with. And maybe this is my bias. A lot of people, if you're able to keep up with that, you know, some people are like, my family is here, I have responsibility, I have an old mother, I have to take care of her, I can't leave the country and go. Only under those circumstances you work in India PhD. Otherwise, try very hard to get abroad a PhD admission. And if you have to do research assistantship to get that, then do that. When did I actually start earning? I started earning. You are earning right now, by the way. Your stipend is your money. So if I have to see like that, I started earning like you at 18, 19. and, and then 5 years of Inspire scholarship. And then Inspire fellows have the provision to apply for PhD without taking the JRF exam, the exam. So because you are part of Inspire. So I just applied through that. I don't even think I wrote any exams or anything. Maybe just entrance exam. I don't remember, some PhD exam. But it was not the All India exam that you have to write to get PhD. Everybody writes that All India exam for JRF, right? It was not that. So yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, through the Inspire, I got the JRF. So that is also income in a way, because you're earning 25K a month. I don't know what is the current salary right now. And then if you don't want to count all of that, then when I actually started earning was when I was 25, when I started doing jobs after coming here during my study. So I hope, Lydia, that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Supraja is asking, can you give an literal idea about IIT JAM chemistry? How? What is IIT JAM? I might have forgotten.
Ma'am, MSc admission to IITs and IIC Bangalore.
Is this for masters or PhD?
Masters. Either integrated MSc PhD or just MSc at IITs and IISc.
Oh, is this? I thought that was GATE. GATE used to do that, right?
GATE is for PhD, I suppose, right?
There are, I think, a
PhD to
couple of MSc
IITs.
courses, but this is specifically IIT for MScs. Right now, people prefer JAM.
I didn't know you had this. There was no JAM at the time that I was there. There was GATE to get into MSc in IITs, I think. So unfortunately, I'm too old to answer this question, I think. My partner, he did his MSc from IIT Madras, and I think he gave GATE. I'm not too sure. CSIR is that PhD exam that you have to give, right? To get a JRF. I've heard that it's very painful. That's all I can tell you about it. You need to learn a lot of things about it to write that exam, and neither me and I don't know if even my partner, he also had joined a PhD in India. I don't think either of us wrote it. But you need to write this to get lectureship, I think. So if you, before 35, if you want to become a lecturer in India, you need to have written the CSIR exam. That's all I know, unfortunately. What could be best area for cisbio people if they want to do research? I feel you guys are making me feel useless right now, asking so many research-oriented questions. what will be best area for cis bio people if they want to do research? What do you mean by that, Monvi? Hello, Monvi, are you there?
Monvi, could you unmute yourself?
Latest areas. I'm not the right person since I'm not doing cis bio research anymore. Oh, you guys, I want to point this out to you. I don't know if you already know. Only ask these kind of questions to people who are already in the field. I'll tell you why. Reason being, once people leave the field or they're no longer actively publishing papers in it, in what happens is there is progress that happens in the research area. So what my knowledge is from 5 years ago, the field is not there anymore. The field has moved on, right? So there have been papers that have been published and progress that has been made. So what I knew as latest areas at the time are not the latest areas anymore. So that's why you should not ask this question to anyone who's currently not doing research in that field, because progress happens very fast in science. If anybody in the future thinks about doing a PhD, and maybe you are like, oh, I want to do a part-time PhD or something like that. Such options exist, by the way, part-time PhDs. You will have a lot of difficulty because your PhD will take longer. Like you will do your PhD in like 8 or 9 years, and during that time, a lot of progress in the field happens. And so your topic that you chose in your first year will become irrelevant by the time you reach your 7th or 8th year. So keep that in mind. That's also one more reason why you want to probably, some people ask, oh, should I choose a 3-year PhD? Should I go to Europe and do a 3-year PhD? Or should I go to US and do a 5-year PhD? Molly seems very stressed about cisbio scope. She's asked me several questions about cisbio research. What is the scope for cisbio people? Like what kind of scope? Are you looking for jobs? Are you looking for academics? In academics, there is a lot of scope, both, ma'am, I see. In academics, you will have a lot of scope. You can apply for PhDs afterward, provided you get a good GRE score, good TOEFL score, good marks, and you do internships, and all of that needs. Academics is a very competitive career choice. I don't know if you all know this or not. Also, academics is a very competitive career choice. A lot of good people who get good grades, do PhDs, manage to do PhDs, manage to do first postdoc, do second postdoc, and then move to industry. Because getting faculty positions is very hard. And if you are looking for like, oh, I want to settle down in an Indian university as a lecturer in a faculty position, very, very hard. There are not as many posts. And so keep that in mind. Even the most talented of people drop out from academics because they want to make more money and just want to have a peaceful life with their family. So scope for systems biology people would be, you can do academics, or if you want, you can work for private bio labs like Dr. Reddy's or things like that. I don't know if anybody who's done that. but potentially you could do that if you wanted.
So
Okay.
I think that's all the questions. I would like to thank our honorable speaker for addressing all the questions. On behalf of Junior Science Club, I would like to extend a very hearty vote of thanks to our honorable speaker, Ms. Kiranmayi Vadlamudi, who shared her virtual presence and took out valuable time from a busy schedule to interact with us. I also wish to express my gratitude to the Director of the College of Integrated Studies, Professor B.V. Sharma, and the Associate Director, Professor Salman Abdul Mois, for providing us this opportunity and support to organize this webinar series during this ongoing pandemic. I'm very grateful to all the faculty coordinators of JSC, Professor Archana Mourye, Professor Murlidharan, Professor Srinath, and Professor Manjari, and for their constant present guidance and valuable encouragement. At last, I extend my big thanks to our CIS office members, all the senior and fellow coordinators of JSC, and our dear audience for participating with such enthusiasm and patience. Thank you all for making this event successful with your contribution.
Thank you, Aditi, Gautam,
Thank you, ma'am.
Manaswita,
Thank you, Manoj. A
Aditya,
lovely talk.
Thank
and
you.
everybody else who asked me questions. It was very nice meeting you. And if you have any more questions or in that Facebook group, if you have not already joined, please join that Facebook group. A lot of alumni are there. You can message them on Facebook and ask them questions. A lot of people are doing current research in systems biology, seniors, your seniors, 10 years senior to you. There, all these questions, Monvi, you have on systems biology, find somebody from that Facebook group who's doing systems biology research and email them or message them on Facebook, something, messenger. They will happily respond to you. And any other kind of questions that you have about data science or I don't know, anything else, any other decision you're trying to make. And especially to all the girls, my this thing is always open. Please feel free to message me. I would like to see all of you to continue in your careers and not give up. If you want to settle down and get married, I know those pressures will be there. And if you want to talk to anybody, I'm sure any alumni who's a woman and senior to you and is married would be very happy to help you in whatever way she can. There is also another systems biology senior. I know she is in the US. She did a MSc in Georgia Tech in computer science, and now she works as a data scientist for Airbus. So there are a lot of your seniors are very successful across the world. So if you want to call other people, find somebody on that group and message them and ask them to join. And I'm sure they'll be more than happy to. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Take
ma'am.
care.
Thank you, ma'am.